So Newcore, we're advancing the Enchi project in Ghana. It is a district-scale exploration project. We currently sit at about 1.4 million ounces of inferred resource. We've got a PEA on the project with very robust economics. And where we're trading today, we're trading at about $22 per ounce in the ground. We're back to levels that we traded at about 18 months ago. Obviously, we've sold off with the rest of the market, and I think that presents a tremendous buying opportunity. As Brian highlighted in his presentation, you've got to be there invested in the tough times to ultimately reap the rewards when the market does come back. And I think right now we're seeing a real interesting opportunity in the market, and specifically at Newcore from that perspective. I spent the first 15 years of my career on the investment banking side of the business, 12 years in London, covering all the big global natural resource funds. And over that period, I really learned three things that you need to create a successful company. You have to have a great asset, you've got to have a proven team, and you need strong capital markets support. We're very fortunate at Newcore to have all of those things. Let's start with the team. The team's got a proven track record of making shareholders money. We're also very well aligned with investors, which is something Brian also highlighted. Management and board own 27% of the business, so we ultimately think as investors first. Very strong capital markets support or institutional ownership. We've taken that from 0 to 40%. If you're buying our stock today, you're most likely buying it at a discount to where most of the institutional investors invested their money, which I think creates a very interesting opportunity. We also have very strong support from the capital markets. Currently have 5 Tier 1 investment banks covering us from a research perspective. I'd encourage you to pull any of that research. Average stock price of $1.63. ESG is something that's very important for us. We could spend the rest of the day talking about that, but ultimately our view is all stakeholders need to benefit in a project, and that's the best way to push it forward. We are based in Ghana, as Brian highlighted. It is a Tier 1 jurisdiction. It's the 6th largest gold producer globally, just behind Canada. As a result, you've got a very well-aligned government in country. But at the end of the day, don't listen to me, the CEO of a single asset company. Look at what the major mining companies are doing in country. You've currently got 4 of the top 10 largest gold producers with significant operations in Ghana. Newmont is in the process of investing another $750 to $850 million into the country. That will take them from 14 to 20% of their global production. I think that speaks for itself in terms of jurisdiction. Back to Brian's presentation, M&A is something we've seen a lot of in Ghana, and here's a few of those examples in the last year or so. We're located in the southwest corner of Ghana. There's 2 prolific belts, the Ashanti Belt and then the Sefwi-Bibiani Belt. Just to the north of us, 50 kilometers away, you've got Kinross's Toronto mine, 5.5 million ounces, Bibiani at 6.5. And then here's that Newmont, one of their 2 producing assets, which sits at 15.5 million ounces. So very large deposits along trend from us. Here's an overview of our project. Great infrastructure, paved road and highway that goes right through the middle of our project. You can see that here. You can drive 100 kilometers an hour along this road. Gas stations throughout our project, cell phone towers. 10 minutes down this logging road and you're standing on top of our Boeing deposit. Another 5-10 minutes from there, you're standing on top of our Boeing deposit. So very good infrastructure, which ultimately really helps the economics of this project. In terms of what we outlined here, this is a PEA we put out in 2021. It outlines a very simple open pit heap leach project. At an $1,850 gold price, you're looking at an after-tax NPV of $302 million. That compares to us trading at about $30 million US today. So big gap there, an opportunity for re-rate. After-tax IRR, I think Brian mentioned 25%, so we've got 54% after-tax IRR. And one of the things that really drives that is heap leach projects are low CapEx, so just under $100 million. We currently have a 1.4 million ounce resource. It is an inferred resource. If you look at all the historical drilling that drives that, you're looking at about 110,000 meters. We're currently in the midst of the largest ever drill program, 90,000 meters on our project. So I think that gives you a pretty good feel in terms of where that resource is potentially headed. In terms of the 90,000 meter drill program, we really wanted to accomplish 4 things with it. We want to expand existing resource area, go back to previously drill tested areas. We wanted to make some new discoveries and also test the high grades at depth for the first time ever. This is an overview of our project, and I'll just get into it in a little bit of detail. So this is our Sium deposit, our largest deposit, about half of our resource, followed by Boeing at 500,000 ounces, Niam, and Quachikrum. All of this sits within very easy trucking distance of where our main heap leach pad is being contemplated. In terms of the expansion of existing resource, I'll just highlight that with our Boeing deposit, which again sits at about 500,000 ounces. When we look at Boeing, this is a good example of where we've added mineralized mineralization along strike from our existing resource or our existing pits. So here at Boeing, what you're looking at is a 2.8 kilometer pit constrained resource. We've now drilled and hit mineralization 400 meters to the north, 1 kilometer to the south, so you can start to do the math on what 1.4 kilometers might add here at Boeing. This is the case at our other deposits, but in 10 minutes don't have enough time to get through all of that, but we have been significantly expanding the mineralized footprint at all of our existing resource areas. At Boeing specifically, we also had our highest grade intercept ever, so about 125 meters below surface. We hit 95 grams over 2 meters. Within that same hole, another 13 grams over 1 meter. Another thing, as I mentioned, we wanted to accomplish was making some new discoveries as part of this 90,000 meter program. So we did allocate 18,000 meters of drilling to greenfield targets, and we're very excited to have made 3 new discoveries at Tokasea, Sium South, and Sium Extension. All of those have been announced this year. Just back to the 3D model, Sium South, very large deposit, 6 kilometers by 3 kilometers in size. We made a maiden discovery there. Tokasea, we've now drilled 82 holes. We've had very good success there. Another very large target for us, 6 kilometers by 3 kilometers in size. You'll see we put some results out this week. And then lastly, we identified this parallel structure down at the southern end of Sium and made a discovery there. Just to put that in perspective, this here is our Sium deposit, which sits at about 725,000 ounces. So you can start to see, as we potentially drill out the rest of these discoveries that we've made, what that can potentially add in terms of resource going forward. Also, key thing, that's where our proposed heap leach pad is. So everything sits within our main area, which is crucial. The last thing we wanted to really accomplish with this 90,000 meter drill program is start to test the higher grades at depth. What we're looking at here is a long section of our NCAU project, and we're comparing it to Kinross's Chirano mine, which sits on the same Bibiani shear about 50 kilometers to the north of us. What we've done is we've superimposed the depth of the oxides on both of these long sections. The average vertical depth of those pits that I was just showing you is only down to 63 meters. As part of this 90,000 meter program, for the first time ever, we're starting to test the higher grades at depth, and we've been having some very good results. Back on that Chirano slide, they're now mining down at 800 meters below surface. They've drilled down to 1.2 to 1.3 kilometers. Here in this hole number 45, as we got down to about 175 meters below surface, we hit 5.4 grams over 9 meters. Sitting 500 meters to the south of that, in this hole number 48, we hit 4.5 grams over 13 meters, almost 7.5 over 8 meters. When I now pull you back from that and show you this again from a long view perspective and start to highlight some of the results, 5.8 grams over 7 meters, 5.6 over 8, 5.4 over 9, almost 5 over 8 meters. So we can now start to talk with confidence about how we think we've hit one of these high-grade feeder zones, which ultimately plunges at depth. Important to remind you, we're still only down at 250 to 300 meters here. I want to thank my other presenters for giving me an extra couple minutes here by running ahead of schedule. I think that may be the first time I've ever seen this in a conference, so I won't rush through this because I think it's an important point to highlight. 3.2 grams over 9 meters, 7.4 over 8, 3.5 over 9, 6 over 6 meters. This is sitting 500 meters to the south of this initial structure. As highlighting to you, we can now, with again confidence, start to talk about how we think we've hit another one of these high-grade feeder zones plunging at depth. Big question for us, what sits in between here? As you can see, there's a lack of drilling there. So this is the high grade that we were looking for on our project, and extremely excited to have started to ultimately identify some of it. Just to recap, management team and board have a proven track record of making shareholders money. Importantly, as Brian said, having insider ownership is a critical thing. We own 27% of the business. Very strong capital market support, 40% institutionally owned, 5 analysts covering us from a research perspective. Ghana is a tier 1 jurisdiction. Don't listen to me, but look at what Newmont's doing in country. Very robust PEA, which outlines strong economics for the project. But where we're creating the value now is obviously through the drill bit and that 90,000 meter drill program, which is the largest ever on the project. So again, we're just outside. Encourage anyone to come have a look. But I think this is a really interesting opportunity for investors who don't own the stock today. Thanks again for others who ran ahead of time, which allowed me to run a little over. Thank you very much.